السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum salam.
How are we, gentlemen?
Alhamdulillah.
Hope everyone is well. Welcome to the Masjid Carpark podcast, episode 8. How is the pigeon this week?
Pigeon? The pigeon.
I had to lead with the pigeon, bro.
The pigeon
I couldn't help
updates.
it. The pigeon updates, the life of Lata and his pigeon.
Yeah, we're still good buddies. I think now we're actually even closer because he does leave food or pieces of bread. I'm pretty sure it's him, but it could be other birds. But why would they do that?
Why would a bird fly a pigeon? A piece of bread onto your balcony?
Yeah, exactly. Unless
Sharing.
there's, unless it's sharing.
That's right. So
Yeah.
no random other bird would do it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I like to believe so, maybe. But apart from that, those are my pigeon updates.
That's it.
That's
He hasn't
it.
stood on your hand yet, on your arm.
I don't know if he's ready for that yet, because I've tried it a few times where I've just left the food in my hands and just to see what he would do, and he's not budging.
He looks at you like, "Are you kidding, dude?"
Yeah, like come on, we know what usually happens. Just sprinkle on the floor. I'm not eating out of that hand. I don't know what you're up to, but who knows? Maybe it's one of those things where it just takes a while to build the trust, because some. I guess some animals or birds or whatever, they've got their own personalities. Some are like quickly to, they can trust you very quickly, and some, take a while.
It's interesting because my cat, he brings dead birds. He hunts the bird.
Yeah.
Like its head will be missing or some will be missing, part of it missing. It's eating it. Then the rest of it just left on the front porch.
It's like, here you go.
It's a
share
gift.
this with me.
Yeah, it's for the master. Here's
And
here's your share.
Did you
You know?
eat it?
No, it's a dead bird. It's haram. But it's very considerate. Thank you.
Jazakallah.
Thank you for looking
Come
out for
again.
me. Yeah.
Mashallah.
How's the baby going?
Baby's going all right. So
Yeah.
we're coming up to, what's today? Yeah, so a week's done. He's all right. He's cute. But you know what? Every parents think their kid's cute.
Nah, he's cute.
Mashallah.
Mashallah.
Lada's met him a few times.
Yeah. Mashallah.
So basically he takes after his dad.
I did say, what happened to you?
Yeah, and I responded with that, which that response shall not be given on this recording right now. All right, but he's all right, alhamdulillah, getting there,
Yeah.
putting on weight, just doing what baby things
How's
do.
his sleep?
Sleeps all right, mashallah. He wakes up when he's hungry, so does the baby thing and cries. Look, I've come to a conclusion that at this stage of a baby's life, a father means nothing.
Yeah.
you have no role to play.
Yeah.
Hold him, change his nappy, pass him back to his mum. Because you are just this thing.
Change his nappy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
So
I haven't
you're
done many nappy changes
very
yet. I haven't done many
progressive,
nappy.
mashallah.
Right, but we're getting
Very
there.
progressive, mashallah.
Yes, you know what?
Alhamdulillah.
Even let him breathe the oxygen. He shares the same oxygen as me.
Alhamdulillah.
Absolute silence on that one. That was a joke, people.
Yeah.
All right.
Mashallah. So I got my new baby.
Oh yes,
So
yes.
today it arrived. My
Mashallah.
Samsung Z Flip. It's a flip
Mashallah.
phone.
So I think we need to describe it a little bit. If you imagine walking into, say, Louis Vuitton or Gucci and having a look at those compacts that women buy with for their makeup. Now, just imagine I've just killed it for him, but just imagine an electronic version of it. But like in all honesty, it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, like a clam shape. Yeah, it just
I
folds.
like to call it compact. He calls
It's
it
a
clam
foldable
shape.
screen.
Yeah, but it's actually really cool. Samsung, give us
Look,
one
this is
each.
what I can afford, and I'm a sucker for new
Mashallah.
technology. And I said, all right, I'm going to get this. And actually, my bill is lower than what it was before.
That's
with this
amazing.
plan. Yeah, alhamdulillah. So, but
It is a pretty cool looking phone.
it's a very cool phone, mashallah. I
mashallah.
couldn't afford the big one. There's a big one called the Fold. They made a new, I think a number 3 is coming out as well, and that's like opens up into a tablet.
And
So just imagine a full size normal like smartphone, but then it splits in half, like it flips open like a book. Then you
Right,
got like
okay.
a big square tablet size screen. Yeah, it's
Bro,
pretty cool.
talking about new technology, My daughter, she got a what's it called, a laptop. Not a laptop, sorry, a calculator for school for maths.
Oh yeah, those
Dude,
high school calculators.
Dude, this thing can. I reckon this thing can send a man to Mars. Elon Musk doesn't need that. Just use this calculator. It's phenomenal the amount of it graphs things for you.
Yeah, we had that in
And-
high school.
No, what are you talking
Well,
about?
probably not this level, but
We
you
had
know,
a scientific-
That's 20
we had a
years.
scientific
That's a long
calculator.
time. We're
Yeah.
talking about mid
Yeah,
90s.
yeah, but we had
The
a
calculator you're
scientific
thinking
calculator.
about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you see
It's not
this
the
thing,
same. Yeah.
it is not
You know
the same.
brand Texas something? Texas.
Texas Instruments.
Yeah,
Texas,
that was the one.
yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I
But
remember
this thing
that.
is crazy, and it's like over $200 for a calculator.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm looking at this thing, and I'm just like, if I had this at school, I would have had every single answer to every single exam in the past probably programmed in there. Not to cheat, just to look up during the exams and get some help. But it's crazy. So yes, technology has
So
gone
these
crazy.
new screens are coming out, the foldable ones. There's all these. They remade the what's the other one? The Motorola, the
Razer?
The Razer. Yeah, they remade it into a flip phone,
How does it look?
like with a smart. This one's better.
Of course it is.
I watched a comparison video. This one's better apparently, but it's actually like it looks exactly the same as that one from 25 years, 20 years ago. So
Really?
yeah. And Oppo's made this other one that rolls out. Like that's a X21.
Rolls out like a.
It's like the
It
screen
becomes a
rolls out.
tablet.
Like it just imagine your phone. Like imagine your normal phone,
Yeah.
and there's a side panel like this side here. You press a button,
And it
and
extends.
it just extends. It rolls out from here, like it rolls out.
How are they doing this? How do you?
Because it's a flexible screen. It's like a soft plasticky sort of.
Since
screen.
when do screens flex and
It's a special.
turn and
It doesn't make sense,
don't-
does it?
yeah.
Like, but when Sheikh Khalid was telling me about his phone, I was like, yeah, all right, bro. But now that I've seen it, I was expecting the actual bend to be very weak, or it wouldn't be very solid. Have you felt it
No.
to the touch?
That's the first time seeing it.
Right. So if you pass it to him, bro.
It's pretty cool.
Right. If you have a
they've
look
actually
at it,
made special hinges and
Yeah.
brushes inside of it. It's not dust and waterproof
okay.
like other.
So don't go swimming with it.
No way.
So because you go swimming every day, right? See how it doesn't
Don't
feel
touch
weak.
it. Don't
or-
touch the because I haven't.
Don't touch anything.
Don't touch it.
Don't
Don't
touch
put your
his
fingerprints
mobile
on it.
phone.
Feels cool.
All right. So that's what we have. So
Just don't bend it the other way. That's my biggest worry.
well, at least
That would be the next one.
What's that?
You can bend it both ways. Fold it
Can't
this
you
way
do that
and then
with one
fold
of
it that way.
those tablets?
Yeah, well,
laptops?
There are laptops that you can.
No, there is one there's a Chinese brand where actually the screen is on the outside, right? So instead of folding this way, it folds the other way.
So instead of folding flat, it folds in reverse.
In reverse, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So then you have another screen, like a smaller screen, or But anyway,
It's amazing what what insan can come up with when they put their mind to it. Just the amount of technology and stuff is just madness.
yeah. I mean, this is like apparently it's got like it's flexible glass.
Flexible glass.
Yeah, that's the screen now. That's before it was just more plasticky.
Yep.
But now the first fold was like a plasticky screen. Now they've actually made glass that's flexible. Figure that out.
Mashallah.
But anyway,
Speaking of flexibility, mee goreng ladies passed away. Rahmatullah alayhi. Those mee goreng noodles were very flexible once they cooked.
Yeah, you
That's the
can,
guy.
that was
Anyway.
flexible, nice flexible food options.
Yes.
can put them into anything.
Come on. I don't
They
think
work out
there's,
pretty
there's
well.
probably
That was
not a
that was the
person
worst
Segway.
segue that
Yeah.
I ever.
I was
just
like-
letting you know. I didn't. That even was like a.
Because you guys keep going on about the phones. I didn't know what. I'm like, okay, I'm bored.
Let's talk about Miggery now.
Let's talk about mee goreng. I get
Yeah.
it. The phones are cool.
Let's
Maybe
keep-
I'm just cut because I don't have a cool phone
So
like
the
yours.
what's her name? Nunuk Nuraini, Nuraini. Like the light of my eye. She passed away.
Subhanallah.
Yeah.
The light of my stomach
The light of my
Yeah.
with her mee goreng
many
noodles.
university days, many high school. In high school, Indonesians introduced that to me. And I used to like stay with these boarding students. Sometimes the Indonesian, we're in the same class in
Yeah.
high school, and so they showed me how to they introduced me. That's how I got introduced to mee goreng, and then and that time you couldn't get it in Safeway or anywhere else. Like you had to go to the Asian store and get the box. Like it was like a whole box,
Yeah, that's
cardboard
right.
box.
Pack of 24, I think.
And then they showed this is the way I have it with you fry egg, but you fry it on both sides and then chuck it on top.
Yeah, that's
match made in heaven.
that's perfect. You've got to always.
But do you have your mee
Friday.
goreng wet or dry?
Dry.
Dry? Yeah.
My
I'm
son
saying.
has it.
Do you
My kids
sprinkle the
have it wet
onions
as
on
well.
it?
Oof, that's just weird because the flavor gets sort of diluted. I don't know.
Do you guys sprinkle the onions on it?
Yeah,
The dried
yeah.
onions?
Yeah, everything, the whole works,
everything,
yeah.
My introduction to mee goreng. This is.
Then I have a khubz with it. It's not very healthy, but
Shout out to the mee goreng lady. My introduction was to mee goreng was in.
she's Muslim. Allah yarhamha.
Mine was in university as well, but with these Vietnamese students.
Okay.
So with mates of mine that were Vietnamese, and you go to their house where they were living, a couple of brothers, and everyone would be there. And there was not much halal food until I saw the mee goreng option, and it's got the little halal sticker on the
Yeah.
back, and it was exciting times. And I learned how to eat mee goreng with chopsticks.
Oh, okay.
Mashallah.
So that was my introduction to mee goreng, and now I'm the mee goreng king.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Lata? What
She
was
made
your-
she made also other flavors as well, many other flavors. But you can't get them in Australia. We only get 3, I think. Like we get the chicken one, the barbecue, the really hot one, and the main one. Like
I just like
the
the
mee
main
goreng.
one
the
with
main
the,
mee
the one
goreng.
with the egg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best one still.
Can't go wrong with that.
But they've got all these other ones like soup ones, and if you go in, she actually is she worked for them for Indomie for 30 years, and developed she's a like a food specialist or
Yeah.
flavor specialist, whatever. So actually she
I
made
hope they
it.
paid her well.
Hmm?
You'd hope they paid her well.
I mean, she worked for them.
She
So
made
she worked for
billions
30
for them.
years. She worked for 30 years for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Anyway, that's you could say it's sad news, but Allah yarhamha, she gets du'as online. So many du'as, people making so many du'as for her. They had such good memories. Like you get good flavorful food for cheap. I remember they used to sell them in the like the Asian stores. It was like 30 cents a bag or something, like a
Yeah,
packet.
yeah. Or the box, or you just buy the whole box.
$10, I think.
$10,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was
And
crazy.
But the thing is crazy because you can make stir fry. Just add prawns, just add whatever you want.
Yeah.
And those noodles are good for stir fry as well.
Yeah.
And they've got a lot of MSG in them. So I don't know
Yeah.
about the health factor.
Yeah. My
Damn,
son
that tastes
keeps on telling me that MSG is good for you.
What?
It's
And
like
what's his reasoning behind it?
I don't know. I don't know where he gets that from, and I keep telling him like this got too much MSG because he loves mee goreng.
Oh,
The
everybody
Indomie,
loves
he loves
it,
it and he
bro.
eats it too much. I said, "This is unhealthy for you." He goes, "No, MSG is actually good for you." He's trying to convince me, but I don't think. But I think it used to be very. There was a lot of information about it that it's bad for you, but I think it's not as bad as what they used to say. But anyway, a lot.
But if you look at mee goreng and what it costs for one packet or 2 packets, that's an amazing. That's such a tasty meal for such a low price.
Yeah, and you can add something to it and veggies to it, and
Mm.
yeah, you can make it almost so semi-healthy, I guess. Yeah,
So now we have become a podcast of food and what to do
and
with mee
unboxing
goreng.
and new,
New
new products.
unboxing new technology.
Yeah,
Right, so we need more new technology to unbox. Speaking of unboxing, what's happening with COVID? Where are we at that? Western Australia?
that's
5-day lockdown?
Yeah. I spoke to somebody yesterday, and I said, he goes, I'm not expecting any sympathy from Victorians.
In
5
WA?
days, huh?
In
yeah,
WA?
yeah. And I said, one alim was speaking. He said, I'm not expecting any sympathy from you guys. Like 5 days is nothing compared to what we
Yeah,
went through.
exactly.
So, inshallah, they'll come out of it, and I think they're going to hard lockdown. Who was it? Was it one guy that was a security guard?
Yeah, I think through the hotel quarantine.
But he went to
system.
so many places. This guy seems to be very active and out and about. He went to he went to a halal butcher or something, no, halal shop or something, convenience store as well.
Subhanallah.
So I mean, there's a Muslim angle to it, I guess.
yeah, if there's a Muslim angle, they'll definitely chuck that one in there.
Yeah. No, he's not Muslim. I don't think he's Muslim, but he went to a halal place or something. Allahu alam. But anyway, so he, this is like, I keep repeating this to brothers because we have to accept reality. This is going to be for a while.
We're getting I don't know if we are getting complacent, but as time goes on, and in Melbourne, we're very lucky in Victoria with our situation at the moment, we do become complacent.
Yeah,
we don't realize that, mate, it's still raging throughout the whole world.
Yeah, and like there's some brothers that went overseas, and then there's the African strain, or South African strain, and then they have to come back because the situation they got really bad because it's very contagious. Then they have to, but they can't come directly to Australia. They have to go to another country.
So what? There's no flights allowed.
I don't think directly people are allowed to come. They have to go sort of to another country.
Somewhere else, quarantine for a bit.
Yeah, another country, and
That's so harsh.
then they have to come. Yeah,
Spread it somewhere else.
Best thing
Once
to do
you're
is
clear,
just
come
stay
back.
put.
It's not spreading, but like they're more protective here, and there's a buffer now for them, and it's very expensive. Like that whole thing of it's not worthwhile traveling overseas.
But even if you are traveling overseas, you've got to be prepared to maybe I can't come back.
Yeah,
Because there's like 40,000 Australians that want to come back that are still stranded overseas.
Yeah, there's
They
got to be
can't come
special flights, and
SubhanAllah.
you get booked out. Yeah, it's too
40,000, huh?
It's actually not worthwhile.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Some people did go, came back. They come through the quarantine. Mashallah, they seem to be, they seem to be doing well. So, but it's a lot of quarantining and a lot of risks and expenses.
Well, we went to the airport yesterday,
Yep.
and peak hour traffic time.
What'd you go for?
I had to drop someone off, so they came the day before, and then they were leaving. They left yesterday.
Oh, interstate.
Yeah, from
Yeah.
from interstate. And as we're dropping them off, there's absolutely no traffic.
It's like a ghost town.
Yeah, there was a little bit of traffic, but it's not
Airport,
what you'd expect of Melbourne Airport. And back in the day, you got to allow for traffic and allow for all the crowds and all this stuff. Now it's just like our plane's taking off at 6 o'clock. That's all right. Get there at 5:59. We'll be right. It's very, very quick.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting thing.
And the opposite, like my sheikh from Pakistan, he yesterday he went.
When you say your sheikh, what does that mean?
My sheikh, my mentor,
Okay.
it's a spiritual mentor, and I take advice from him. So he day before yesterday, so beginning of this week, he went to Umrah. So I got messages. He's arrived in Jeddah.
Umrah, Saudi.
Yeah, from Pakistan. There's people going. So he's there now.
Subhanallah.
So I request him. There's a lot of du'as, of course. Like he must be like the list of the people requesting du'as must be very long. And so he's, subhanallah, he's there. And I just sent him like a 5-minute message requesting du'as.
Did he tell you how he turned up?
Huh?
How you got there?
How you got there, yeah.
I think it's in between Pakistan, because if going from Pakistan to Saudi, I think it's not as strict maybe like the way we have in Australia they have it. I'm not sure. Like there may seem some people may be allowed,
Maybe a travel bubble.
It's not a travel bubble, but they might have some sort of leeway for certain people. And
Bro, when Allah wants you, huh?
Yeah,
He accepts, he
subhanallah.
accepts. It's unbelievable.
yeah, so he's there and he's doing tawaf, and
Wow.
the Haramain look pretty empty relatively.
So no brawls to kiss the Hajr Aswad.
I don't know. Like it's amazing actually. I was with him last January, last year, beginning of it's amazing that seems so far away now.
Yeah.
It
Since
does.
What's happened this year, but January last year, literally.
Were you there last January?
Last January, yeah.
In 2020.
And even when
In 2020?
in 2020, yeah, the beginning of 2020, I was
That
there
is
over
so
the
weird to
New
think
Year's,
about
Christmas,
that. Yeah.
New
You
Year's.
had Christmas in the Haramain, mashallah.
No, it was after Christmas. New Year's, I was there. So, subhanAllah, it was just, even when it was March, when the lockdown started, all of a sudden,
Yeah.
March, April, even then that felt like a world away, let alone now. And
Yeah,
now,
it does.
Yeah.
But then
It does.
him going there again, he just sort of revived like sort of the memories of last year. And said, subhanAllah, like he's a very fortunate person. Allah invited him, and he's there and du'as, and
The
well,
trip is
at least we have someone there, inshallah,
Inshallah.
hopefully making du'as for us, inshallah.
slip our names in there as well.
Inshallah.
The trippy thing about this is if you think back to
For all the sinful Muslims.
I mean,
I mean,
are you calling me a sinful Muslim?
No, I didn't say that.
Ooh.
And for all the sinful Muslims.
Mashallah.
And for all of us. We're sinful Muslims, so for all of us.
Allahu
Inshallah,
Akbar.
he'll make dua for us there, inshallah. I'll request him, inshallah.
Toot, toot. The number you have called has been disconnected. That's what you're going to hear next time you call me.
Okay.
Right now, so but what trips me out about this is, so if you've got people going there, going to Umrah, mashallah, doing all of that, and then coming back, and then we think back to what it was like for when you went, like for example, when you went in January and the crowds and things like that. What would the locals on the ground? What would they be thinking? The impact on them, because they're used to so many crowds.
Yeah,
like for us in Melbourne,
It's a ghost town.
yeah, for us in Melbourne, we're used to people and getting out and about, and we went in lockdown. In lockdown, everything went quiet. But we had our downtimes. Christmas, you get busy. January is a little bit quieter. Public holidays, we get busy. But there, it's always busy. And now all of a sudden,
it's not, yeah.
it's a ghost town.
It's probably like half the population is not there. And like all the activity, the buzz, like the CBD
Yeah.
or the scent episode, all the activity is the haram and around the hotels and those areas, right?
Yeah.
So when that's all gone, then yeah, it'll be a bizarre phenomena for them to observe, But probably for them it's like, all right, we can enjoy the Kaaba now to ourselves.
Subhanallah,
You know,
yeah,
1400
that's
years we've been 1400 years everybody else is coming, so now we got it all to ourselves. Maybe like they probably appreciate it. Allah alam.
The tawafs would be a lot quicker because they'd be much closer.
What's that?
The tawafs would be a lot quicker because they'd be much closer.
Yeah. You probably you're not pushing through the crowds, and you could
Subhanallah,
sprint it
man.
maybe in 5 minutes, maybe. I don't know.
That's
It usually takes
amazing.
45 minutes, half an hour to 1 hour, depending on the crowds. But
Yep.
yeah, so they could probably do it quicker and enjoy it. Not just do it quicker, but enjoy it and
Do your amal like
not
you know,
bump
Yeah.
into.
or no one's elbowing you in the side of the
Yeah,
ribs,
yeah.
or you don't have those groups of what
Yeah.
is it? Is it the Turkish ladies usually that travel in packs and there's like 400 of them and they just
Yeah, there's different. They've got
poking everyone
different
out the way.
different ways, different countries. Australians can't stay together for. They can't.
Why is
You
that?
just disappear, like you just lose everyone because
Everyone's got their own mind of
Yeah.
where.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
I took groups 7-8 years, Hajj groups. The first year I went, like because the other countries that go in groups, they do drills. Like Indonesia,
it's
Malaysia.
military.
Yeah, so they
It's
know
phenomenal.
what they have to do when they get there. So they don't change. They follow the routine they've been trained.
Lock on. They hold the person's hand in front of them or their clothes.
Is
No one can come in. No one
It's-
can come
they
in.
don't wanna
is that
lose-
something that you should do though? Like, I mean,
Look,
isn't the idea of
No, but it's like if you're coming from a country where you don't know your way around there. Like you don't speak English, you don't speak Arabic, you don't speak any of the international languages. Like
Yeah.
let's say for Indonesia, you're from the village in Indonesia, you get lost.
You're stuffed.
yeah,
It's very hard to figure your way out
Subhanallah.
through the
good point, yeah.
So maybe it's just like a safety numbers sort of thing, and make sure that you don't
It's
lose.
awesome to watch.
Huh?
It's awesome
Yeah.
to watch. It's,
I mean, I
it's
got
a military unit
Yeah.
yeah
doing tawaf.
Look, when they do
And they're all
groups,
80.
I find the Southeast Asians are
Mashallah.
more when they do tawaf, it's a little bit like even if they do it in groups,
Gentler.
they're gentler and they don't. Some of those Middle Eastern countries that do it in groups,
Poor.
certain nationalities, they just like a bulldozer. So whoever's
You will get run over.
yeah. So they're more like aggressive in the way they start. So different. I personally don't like the group things and individually. Like first year, I thought that's how you have to do it because I didn't know the process.
Yeah.
So then what happened was that I think in 5 minutes I lost everybody, 70 people. So then I went back to the hotel, and in the hotel I'm waiting like this 1 o'clock in the morning. I've lost all the Hajjis because I'm responsible. I'm the Hajj guide, quote unquote. And so I was waiting for them to come in then I see all these uncles with shaved heads coming, like old guys, 70. I was so worried about them because a lot of old people go Hajj, right?
Yeah.
But then I start seeing it all rolling in, and then in the morning when I'm breakfast,
Mashallah.
everybody was there, has done shaved heads. They're all okay. It's that first Umrah, especially if you've never been there. Once you figure that out, where your hotel is, everyone's at home then, because your whole life now is Amal, Salat, 5 times. Everybody knows 5 times Salat, and then everything just fits.
Yeah.
And you know what you have to do. But just that first Umrah is so overwhelming, especially someone's never been there, because you read in the book, but the dimensions of everything is not clear from the book. The
Yeah,
size
bro.
of buildings, the
Yeah.
crowd
That's
number,
a good point.
the crowd. You cannot create that in the book.
I wasn't expecting the Kaaba to be as big as it is.
Yeah, everything
The
is
size wise, it's actually a big structure.
Yeah.
And I was like, when I first saw it, you know, it's a box, it's a big black box, whatever. But size wise, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So it's just like the dimensions, and then Hajj is a little bit easier because you're talking and everything's done as a group. You go for Arafah, Muzdalifah, Mina, all those things are done as a group, right? So it's not too bad. Like, and then the first 2 days, then you're okay with that as well. But the first Umrah is extremely overwhelming for people, especially people are very emotional. Like
I can imagine. 'cause-
they're trying to process a lot of emotion and they're trying to do the action.
yeah.
So what happens is like Hajj groups, and I don't like this when Hajj groups do this, they rush them when they first see the Kaaba. So I'll let them stay and I explain the process to them. And I said, you're on your own. And now here, go, make as long dua. When you first see the Kaaba, make as long dua as you want for me, for the Ummah. Always make for the Shaykh dua. But, even there's these certain nationalities that were there. We have brothers and sisters who come from the refugees, like they came from Burma, and they were in Hajj, subhanAllah. And so I used to do programs for them separately. And subhanAllah, they used to, I used to get them I used to do a talk for them. and specifically because no one's giving talk to them. So there's one guy spoke Urdu, so
subhanallah.
I spoke in my broken Urdu. He translated in their language. Then I told him to make dua for our madrasa, make dua for this, make dua for that. So they used to, all the sisters and brothers are there. They're making dua, ameen, ameen, ameen. So I used to get like, but it's the reality of it is, and this is what I was talking to Abdul Wajid before, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, come and see, bear witness and behold your benefits. But Allah doesn't say. Mufti Rafi Usmani, one of the Mufti Taqi Usmani's older brother, is a Mufti of Pakistan. He said something amazing in one of his books. It's called Life After Hajj or something like that. He said the benefits are not mentioned. Allah doesn't pigeonhole you. It doesn't put you doesn't say to you what the benefits are. It's left open.
Yeah.
Like you come and behold and witness it. It's not something you can recreate in the book. You have to go there, and I think it was one of the Sheikh Hamza Yusuf in America. I think he said, "It's this place, the Haram, is otherworldly. Like it is might as well be on the moon or somewhere. Like it's just like it's brought from another world and just put here. It doesn't fit in the normal world. The focus of the center of the city and everything is totally different to any other city in the world, any other place in the world. So it's amazing. The benefits there is different for every single person. It's like Allah's customizing. And I'll give you an example. We're in Muzdalifah. So in Muzdalifah, of course, you're looking for the stones, the pebbles, and trying to find the right, make sure it's not concrete or aggregate, and find a real pebble. And you have a bottle, like a drink bottle, like a water bottle, small bottle. So you check the opening of the bottle, make sure the stone's not bigger than that or smaller than that, too small. It's roughly chickpea size. And so I'm sitting there, and in my mind, I'm going through the qabr, the grave, and going through like I'm in a this is the closest you're going to get to the grave, right? I've got like kafan, the white sheets, and we're sitting in dirt, digging dirt, and I'm thinking of the qabr, the grave, barzakh, all those sort of things. The brother next to me, and he's thinking about what he's thinking about. See, like everyone's like experiencing, they're doing the exact same thing, but spiritually and emotionally they are experiencing total different understandings. He's doing the exact same thing as me, because you know what I'm thinking about? Turn to me. I'm thinking about in third world countries when the people go through rubbish tips and they have to find something that's useful. Like here we go, we got the stone, we throw the stone out. We got a stone, we throw the stone. The stone is not the right stone, or the size is wrong, or whatever. And he's like, we're digging through dirt in the ground, and he's like on a $200,000, $300,000 salary. This brother that was with me, and he said, "Look what Allah's reduced us down to." And his experience is totally different, and you find that in Hajj. That's why I don't like those Hajj groups that try to make a theme. Like they try to set the agenda for this year's the theme is this.
What do you mean the theme?
Like this year's theme is the seerah, the biography of the Prophet, or something like they try to mold it too much, and the activities around it because they want to educate on certain things. It's okay, but it's too forced. And Allah has said, "Come and witness your benefits." So it's Allah's left it open-ended. So people should not try to restrict and promise you'll feel this and you'll experience this. No, it's Allah's house, and Allah's inviting you, and what He wants you to feel and what He wants you to think and get and what benefits get is for you. So no one can dictate that. No group or sheikh or so forth can dictate the benefits. Anyway, I'm missing it already. I'm missing it now. I just don't. At least someone is there, and hopefully make dua for us, inshallah. And
I wonder what will happen this year for Australia.
For Hajj?
Yeah.
Last year was only, in 2020, it was only 10,000 people did Hajj from all over the world, as far as I remember.
I don't think anyone went from here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
Subhanallah.
Yeah, it's sad. Anyway.
Well, hopefully when the vaccine comes out, it'll all open again.
Inshallah. Yeah, Australia's already got their order. I think they bought 5 times what Australia needs or something. I mean, the benefit of being a rich country, I guess. He bought it. I think they keep it and they help out poorer countries nearby as well, Papua and all these islands and so forth. So, they're not just going to hoard it. But there are countries already, there's a vaccine, not war.
They're fighting over it.
They're fighting over Europe and Britain and others. They're
like restricting
Is that right?
of each other, so they can have it.
Europe, and especially with now that the UK has left the EU.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Oof, that's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's better to work together than to work, help each other out.
I wonder how that would impact with regards to the EU and the UK. what the impact's going to be when it comes to even the vaccine. Who's going to get priority or who's going to sell? I think the UK's already started vaccinating though, haven't they?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they have their own. They have developed Oxford and at Oxford. I think the AstraZeneca one's a UK one.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, and
I thought it was Australian. Aren't we developing one ourselves?
In Australia, there were some
we have an agreement.
studies.
Yeah.
However, they weren't very effective.
AstraZeneca, I think we have an agreement. The different government, state government, Queensland government as well. I think they have an agreement with them privately. Like they'll donate, the research and all that sort of work with them. So because we have the facilities to recreate, like we don't have to buy it necessarily from them.
So
we can actually share the research, and they get the royalties or whatever.
Yep.
So we're just licensing the product.
Maybe, yeah, I think that's what it is. We got the facilities probably to do it here or something. Anyway,
that's the recipe.
Well, you got the vaccine, but until the vaccines come out everywhere, Mr. Andrews, he wants to extend the state of emergency till December 2021, which I get, which makes sense.
What does that mean? Like,
okay, so what happens is
all those extra powers for police or masks.
Yeah, well, that's what's happened.
Much,
so to enforce masks, enforce all of these things, that's because a state of emergency has been declared. Now, in March, once the state of emergency leaves or is stopped, they can't do all of this. For example, if you have 50 people in your house having a party, middle of COVID, cops can't just come in and say, what's going on here? Right? So this is the same thing. And look, a lot of people are, again, as per usual, whenever someone does something against it, but it makes sense. It's what got us to this stage now. So why wouldn't you just go, okay, let's err on the side of caution, push it out to December. I can see Lata's, his eyes are just like, I'm going to pounce on this one. Go for it, brother.
No, I'm just listening to you.
You're just looking at me with those eyes.
I think maybe
nothing's in my ear.
December might be overkill.
Do you think December's overkill? Or think
can
about
maybe
just, we got to here, we're in January, and the world's in chaos.
12 months away still. Like 12 months is a long time. Could have done it quarterly.
But did you think in March when the lockdown started that in December we'd be in the place we're at? We'd be like...
No, well, nobody knows
exactly.
where
so that's all he's trying to do.
But now the situation is good. Therefore, take it. Just relax a little bit,
It is good in Victoria or in Australia at the moment because of the state of emergency powers are allowing the authorities to do what they need to do. So once those powers are gone...
But the good thing is also many young people that were fined for breaking the rules, those fines, it looks like they're going to be waived.
Okay, well that's good.
Yeah, so
that is definitely good because those fines were massive.
Yeah.
But it did keep
people doing it hard,
Exactly.
It's not to punish them further in this, Some of them might be nutters, but still it might be too much for them. Yeah.
But I think extending is not a bad thing.
I wouldn't say it's all credited to the state emergency. Because if people don't
but the state
listen or try to basically follow the rules, then we're all screwed. But I feel like in Australia there's this general sense to follow the rules and do what's right,
Yeah, but they follow the rules because there's a consequence of it. That's what part of the emergency laws are, that you're going to get punished. And this is not something like, hey, everybody, be good and wear your mask. No, this is like there's consequences. And when there's consequences, people generally behave. And like the whole package of laws that came, like how if you don't maintain that, organizations get fined. So if there's no incentive or there's no stick or carrot stick approach, so there's no stick for an organization, why would the organization bother with social distancing rules? Why would it bother with...
Those rules were able to be brought in because of the state of emergency.
Yeah. It's not like it's just like, okay, hey, it's a state of emergency. Like, no, there's actually legal, like a framework that added to all these rules. So, like, for example, we're in the masjid. In the masjid, these are the rules. You can't have more than 300 people for salat. You can't have more than 300 people. You have to maintain a density quotient. I think it's 4 square meters per person or something like that. Social distance is good. There's recommendations and there's like legal requirements you have to follow. So what it does is that it forces, if that wasn't there, it's called a state of emergency because there's certain laws that are brought in this emergency.
Yep.
And when the emergency is gone, then they'll remove. So you're right in a way, I guess. It just seems like December is like 12 months is a long time, but
Yeah, but if everything goes clear and sweet but it's not extended right now till December. It's to be reviewed every month.
oh, okay.
So-
Theoretically, every
yeah.
4 weeks.
It's reasonable.
Yeah,
That's what
so
they said,
it's
yeah.
okay. Do we need it next month? Yep. Well, we've got that allowance till December. We're going to push it out,
Yeah.
and you know what? We need it.
Speaking of states of emergency, in Burma, they had a coup, looks like, and hopefully it doesn't make things worse for Muslims over there.
Do you know what this coup is about? I just saw a funny video on YouTube, and
Bro,
But I
that
do-
lady was hilarious. The fact that there's all these.
Well, what they've done now on Reddit is they've actually cut her out and green screened it. And so that means someone said this is going to be put on every major historical, like previous historical events that happened.
She's just
So
become
she-
famous. Pity she was wearing a. Was she wearing a thing on her face, like a mask?
Yeah.
yeah, I
Right,
think
but
so. Yeah.
imagine, like she's doing this thing. You've got all these military vehicles. But there's literally a coup going on.
Yeah.
You are witnessing. You are the only person
Everybody sees except for
To
her. She's
witness
totally oblivious to
a
it.
coup that's going on. And Aung San Suu Kyi, she came back into power, so she got voted back in again, and she was going to basically, go into parliament or whatever.
Yeah.
So something's happened.
No, there's another general that died. I think he died like a fortnight ago, a week ago or something. So he was the main kingmaker, right, behind the scenes. And the military is the real power.
Yeah.
Right? So this whole democracy thing is talking, it's like a front. She's trying to basically assert democracy in the state, but she can't because the military, like they have 25% of the seats are guaranteed for the military. And then behind the scenes, they are the establishment. So they allow it because they wanted investment and money to come in from overseas. Now, like they sort of reasserted themselves. A lot of these states that have these democracy, like they're very superficial on the front, but behind the scenes, it's like military juntas, that they are actually controlling the state. And military is like, we think military is like they're in the barracks. No, they own like maybe half the economy. They own like construction companies. There's many, many Muslim countries as well, like in Egypt or Pakistan. You see, military is not just a army and they fight wars or defend the borders. They actually their whole economies, and they're critical to the economy. And, there's billionaire generals,
Yeah, that's why there's such a huge separation of powers in Western countries when it comes to military and the government.
And the military numbers are limited and restricted and their powers restricted. Like, why would you, when a country's not in war, like in Australia is a reasonable, was it 10, 20,000, something like that? Is the army?
I'm not too
I
sure.
think it's 30,000.
Yeah, it's a very limited number based on the population. But then you have a country who's got like half the population's got 500,000, 1 million,
Yeah.
army, like why did they need that? It's not,
Pretty much our neighbors.
it's part of the state apparatus, it's like the state, it's the establishment. So they give jobs to themselves, they give contracts, construction contracts.
Yeah.
It's a whole other thing going on, which is non-military. They're not just guarding the borders.
That happens everywhere, though. I mean, in
Not-
military and even in just general economics.
Not while you're in the military. And then even post-military, there's a lot of, like, especially in Australia, there's a lot of UNC generals coming in.
Not
they can come
generals.
into the private sector to go get a job, but their position in the military, maybe a skill that they acquired or planning or project management, but you can come into the private sector, but not that you're running like half the economy from the military bases.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but they do in
Could you
Western
imagine?
countries, the generals or these peoples or whatever it is, even the politicians, when they graduate, they do work for consultancy services or companies that that lobby the department that they were in. So that's a bit dodgy.
But it's
to
very
me.
limited. It's very extremely limited, and there's a lot of oversight and.
Yeah, but in Australia it doesn't work. Look at Bron Bishop and Christopher Pine. Those two, there was a big thing about it, but again, good old COVID saved Scotty.
Even when we're when Western countries are acquiring new technologies, new types of weapons, the contracts that they give, who's giving out those contracts? They're worth millions, hundreds of millions. So
We've got
So the biggest news of the week:
GameStop,
oh, man.
GameStop and all the other
GME as they call it.
GME.
Yeah.
That's
So
the
find a
Very true.
stock that's failing and start putting money on it.
Lata, what is going on?
Blockbuster
Tell us
video.
about it. Explain GameStop to me in layman's terms, bro.
All right. So basically, what's happened is there's a group of Redditors who essentially are pocket traders. They're trading off an app called Robinhood, which is essentially a platform where you can buy and sell stocks. So it's giving access to everyday people. And these guys are on this forum, like a couple of million of them. And one of them, who's like, I think is the administrator, saw a position that one of the hedge funds took. And so I think I should.
What do you mean by position hedge funds took? What?
I think I should explain what a short means. So basically, when somebody's shorting a stock, what that means is they go to a broker. So this doesn't really happen, but it's just computers and numbers. But to sort of make you understand, pretty much they go to a broker and they borrow shares. They borrow shares that belong to somebody else, and then they sell those shares to then later on buy it at a cheaper price, where they anticipate the stock to fall, so they can buy it cheaper and collect the profits. Mm-hmm. So these hedge funds noticed that GameStop is like one of those stores where you got to like actually go in and buy video games. And
which you no longer really need to do.
Exactly,
because everything's digital.
Everything's online. So they saw there was no real need for this, especially with COVID as well. So there was no real need for this company to be worth anything. So they all ganged up, these hedge funds.
And they took offense to it because this is something that's beloved to them.
Yeah.
So
So what, are you saying different hedge funds ganged up?
Yeah. They actually got together. I think 2 hedge funds got together and started taking these positions where they're shorting the company. So they're selling their stocks, basically driving the stocks down, pretty much crashing this company. These guys on Reddit.
So shorting a stock, when these hedge funds short stocks, it's basically a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, pretty much. And now the problem with shorting is that once these hedge funds got together, ganged up, and decided to basically bet against this company, a bunch of just average people, average blokes on Reddit who were already trading stocks here and there on their apps, got the call to, hey, there's this thing that's going on with this stock. There's this massive position that these hedge funds have taken. If we do this, we'll stick it to them. We'll make sure that they feel the pain, they feel the pressure. So everybody's just jumped on. Yeah. So these guys on Reddit basically what they did was they did the exact same thing that the hedge funds did, which is use their buying power, gang up, and start buying the shares back. So that pushed the price back up, which meant that once they sold the stock, these hedge funds would have to buy it back a lot more expensive than what they initially.
Basically, when they reverse.
So they're making a loss.
Exactly. So they're taking a massive hit.
I think just $15 to $20 billion.
$15 to $20 billion. So it's massive. Yeah. You know what they ended up doing? They actually took. They got a bailout from the government.
Did they?
Yeah, it was $2 billion, and they took that bailout and immediately started shorting again.
On GME.
On GME, yeah. They started selling same stock. With I don't know. They just they've got their strategy. They're just going to stick to it. And the average guy is also the average guy on GME is also not GME. Sorry, on Reddit are doing the same thing. They're holding, and the comments are very funny. Where some of them are saying
and the memes and
so do I go out and sell my car and buy GME?
No, don't do that. It's very risky. It's very lucrative. If you don't know what you're doing, I'd say just stay away. Yeah. But what's more interesting is what's these platforms Robinhood is doing. So what they did was they saw all this drive and push for this this stock, and they felt they got pressured, I guess, by the hedge funds and media, and for whatever reason, or for that reason,
they sided with Wall Street.
Yeah, they sided with Wall Street and stopped the trading of that stock. And I mean, it doesn't sound right because they're called Robinhood. So
yeah, but the Robinhood CEO came out and said they didn't have enough reserves.
I mean, that's a poor excuse for a brokerage company. They could just get a loan, like at any moment. And pay that off. And if they actually ended up like sticking with the guys on Reddit, it would have been amazing.
Google had to delete 100,000 negative comments to keep their 1-star rating. Robinhood, the app, on Google Play Store. So 100,000 negative comments were just deleted, and then again, and then now again. Yesterday was like another they've gone down to 1 star or less than 1 star now because people are just angry because you guys Wall Street plays dirty, right? And these rich guys get away with all this stuff. And when the average person, this is the bottom line, the average person decide, all right, we're going to play this game as well. And we use our numbers, like crowd sort of.
What is it, 3 million?
What do you call crowd?
It's about 7 million now.
7 million on that thread.
Crowdfunding.
Yeah, it's almost like crowd, like using the power of numbers
Yeah.
to do what the big guy does, like 2-3 companies do. And they succeeded in it. And now they're saying, so you got like Elon Musk and Mark Cuban and these big guys, like billionaires, who are supportive of the average person in this thing. They hate Wall Street themselves because they do this stuff to them as well when they have their stocks and so forth. So they're loving it because I'm loving Mark Cuban. He said I'm loving this. He really enjoying the average man getting one on top of the.
You know what every country should do? I think I was telling this to Wajid. They should do like an inquisition or inquiry into.
Inquisition.
Yeah, like into their.
You know what Inquisition is?
Tar and feather them.
not too hectic, but like maybe like a royal commission. But I don't know if every country has that. But go into, the details of what these guys are doing because I don't think politicians and all these lawmakers that look after what these guys are allowed to do understand what they're actually doing or what they're getting up to because it's very dodgy. It's like.
It's similar to like at the top end of in Wall Street, the way they conduct themselves is very different to how the average person is expected to conduct themselves.
Yes.
So, for example, they have these tax havens, right? So they don't pay taxes. Like Amazon and these big companies are not paying taxes, and they move their money around. They create these shell companies, in tax havens overseas, and they move their money around to reduce. I mean, they've avoided tens of billions, and they said tax avoidance is not the same as tax evasion. Tax evasion is illegal. Tax avoidance is. So they have like a whole company within the company that's dedicated, not just a department. They have like the size of a little company within. Their job is just an accounting department to make sure that at every turn that tax is avoided.
Minimized.
Imagine the average person.
Average person has no
goes
idea.
to the local, accountant, and he's supposed to it's not a level playing field. So they have to be reined, and they'll fight, and they have lobby groups, and did you see Google this week? Like when it came to Australian news, Google see how Google said, well, we'll just shut down. Like they threatened Australia.
Yeah, we'll shut down
as
Google.
a country. We'll shut down Google in Australia.
Oh, wow.
So these big companies that the local needs of the citizens of Australia, which is that our local news should come up, our search things should come up in Google. The big multinational billionaire company, trillionaire maybe worth company, what does it do? It behaves like a rich person who just bullies the poor guy.
So is this the new empires?
What's that?
These multinationals.
Oh, so they already are. They already are. They always have been. Now it's changed from before it was the energy companies, like oil companies. Now it's all the tech data, the technology companies, Facebook.
It's really interesting. It's really interesting that you say that because in the past, a company, right, was always associated to, or majority of it, or was always associated with its, I guess, parent country or where it was developed. Whereas now, these companies don't have a border like Google. It operates around the world, and it can make calls like that. Where. All right, you don't like us, we'll just shut you down.
But if you have a strong legislative body, like really non-corrupt legislative body, see Europe, what it did with Apple and Samsung, all these companies, you guys have to make one phone charger.
Is that right?
Yeah, just make law like that and force them. Tough luck. We're spending the money because it's like the Europeans.
Yeah.
They buy all the expensive computers and everything. We're the consumers, and we are the representative of the consumers. And all right, this is just too much. Like they actually can put down. So Australia is not going to back off on this, inshallah. They're not going to back off. They're going to say Google have to comply. They have the Google lady, the head of Google in Australia. She's making videos every day.
Yeah, and she's making it sound like we love you. Just we're here for the people.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like, please,
No Google.
how much are they paying you?
And all those old videos are coming out from Wall Street when they were up on the balconies and the Occupy Wall Street protesters were going down in Wall Street.
Yeah.
And they're standing up on the balconies drinking champagne and
Laughing
at the protesters. We'd be like, people have lost their houses. You guys stuffed us up. You got bailouts from the government. we lost our homes. Like that's the people protesting because of the subprime mortgage crisis that they had. So they are like, it's a very capitalism at its worst.
Yeah.
Is that like it's a very ugly dog eat dog world, and just step on the little guy to get ahead. So I think most people enjoyed the tears of the billionaires this week. Those billionaires crying, and this is not really. You guys are not really serious, this and that, because I care about people, and you guys were the ones that's stuffing everybody around. So anyway, so it's but what they're saying now, the prediction is this phenomena is here to stay.
So we need to keep an eye on what's going on in Reddit.
Yeah. So this phenomenon is going to be here for the long term. They're going to be they did it with silver already. I think AMC. There's a few other stocks this week. Nokia, I think as well, and a few other stocks that
Nokia. I haven't heard of Nokia for a long time.
Yeah. So so there's so many of these stocks that they're trying to short sell. So now the little guy's got some, can
got some ammunition,
at least in the financial sector, as a way to fight back. But it requires a large amount of people to move against these guys,
and not just move, but hold. Not get scared or just sell out when the stocks are diving.
What's a guy who put 50,000 in, and how much did he make out of it?
267 million. This is the guy that actually started this thing.
Yeah, that's
nuts. At the start, he bet 50. His position was at 267 million, but he held. He lost it all.
Yeah,
but just on principle.
Yeah, and people are, because it's such a such a principle general. I mean, there's people just trying to be greedy, make money, thinking short term, and it's already dropped down by 50-60% or something. But there are people that actually are principled, and like the people did make money because like they proved they went and bought
hospital kits and
Switch, Nintendo Switch. They bought it and they distributed to hospital cancer patients or whatever. And then there was one that just because I made $1,000 on it. He went and bought donuts and took it to first responders, like $1,000 worth of donuts. He took it to the hospital and fed the nurses and emergency staff. So it's not just about making money and about beating the big guy, but beating him and redistributing. And this is Islamically, this problem exists with this, because in America now they're suggesting a wealth tax.
Right.
Zakat is more like a wealth tax,
not
an income tax. Like tax is based on income, right? What you earn in a year, you tax it. But zakat is not like the Islamic, you can say, version of taxing is not, or a system of redistribution of wealth is not a income tax. It's a savings tax. So if let's say you earn $1 million this year, you give zakat this year. If you have, after expenditures every year, $750,000, $950,000 next year, you'll give 2.5% on that as well. And every year after, as long as you have that money, 2.5% will be taken. It's not like once you're given 2.5%. Like if you earn income,
right?
Yep.
You see, so it is actually a wealth tax, and it's a better system of avoiding inequities and zulm and oppression, money collecting the top end of town or in Wall Street, as I say. It's to bring the money down to Main Street, redistribute it to the poor. It's a much better way.
Even mathematically, it makes sense because 2% of your income and
it's not on income.
Oh, not income. Sorry, your savings, your wealth.
Yeah.
Because each person might have a different level of wealth, right? So imagine taxing 2% off of, I don't know, the guy that owns Amazon.
Yeah, rather than an income tax.
Exactly.
I see where
so
you're
if he's
getting.
got 100 billion, 2.5 billion will go to, like this year, will be in a charity given to the poor.
2.5 billion for the poor. So much work to be done with
let's
that.
say he makes another 10 billion next year, it'll be 110 billion. His wealth is worth next year. Then we give 2.5 plus, 2.5 billion
That's
plus 250 million. So it'll be just.
And the poor and the guy that's only got $1,000, he's giving $25.
Yeah.
But it's not the tax rate where 50 cents in the dollar or 30 cents in the dollar. Try and avoid it. All those situations get cleaned out as well. That's really interesting.
Yeah, the redistribution of wealth in Islam, it's got a perfect system. This, if it was applied, somebody should actually, maybe somebody's done a thing already. Just imagine what the world will look like if this 2.5% zakat rule is put, because everybody's net worth is already available. Anybody that's earns more than significant, their net worth is already put online, right? And so
it would change the world.
Huh?
It would change the world. Yeah, there wouldn't be anyone going hungry.
There would not be anybody poor people. But the reason why there's poor people, the reason why is because zakat is not being. I mean, they're not Muslim. they're not Muslim. That's the first thing. But that actually is a very straight, simple way that you can redistribute the wealth in the community or in the world. Anyway, I think we call it a night, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and press the bell icon. And if you have any suggestions, please leave it in the comment section below. Have a great week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Wa alaikum salam.